Microsoft Excel 2003 Managing Workbooks. Not since the days of grade school have I had to utilize a workbook that I've had to write in, but maybe in the world of Excel, we can see how to utilize these workbooks to our advantage. So in this video, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at how we manage our workbooks. Yes, you know, those things that you open up in Microsoft Excel 2003. We're going to learn how to create some new workbooks. We'll also look and see how we create and use templates. So we already have some pre-built workbooks that we can use, and we can manipulate those and use them for future new workbooks. Then we're going to see how we can move and copy material, not only range of rows or columns or cells, but also entire worksheets, not only within a workbook, but also between a workbook. So up till now, we've been concentrating on the data, the content that we put into our cells. We talked about columns and rows and all those type of things. Even touched a little bit on worksheets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the workbooks themselves and how we can manage these workbooks, maybe move content, maybe add certain things here and there, and manipulate them just a little bit. Maybe even create templates that we can use. In fact, let's start off with templates first. Now, when I open up a standard Microsoft Excel worksheet, it looks like this. It's blank. This is what they call a general book or a workbook. There's, everything's standard. You have your columns, your rows, and everything. You got your 3 worksheets. Now, if I want to create a new one, I can come up here and click on New, or hit Control N, and that will, same thing, keyboard shortcut. And when I do that, it's going to open up one of my task panes over here for a new workbook. We can do a blank workbook. I can do from existing workbooks where I can take something that I've already produced, bring it open and create a new version and recopy and change things. I can also use the templates. Now look at here. I can use templates on Office Online, which we'll show you in just a second. But typically I would use the ones on my computer for certain fast, quick, and easy things that people typically use Excel for. Now, you also can go to other websites, and this can be from your favorites. Maybe you have maybe a local intranet that has a website where you can download certain forms. That's another thing you can add here. But let's go with On My Computer. Now, you'll see that by default, with this version of Excel 2003, if you get some of the more advanced professional versions, I do believe they give you a few more templates here, not too many. But here we got 5. We got a balance sheet, expense statement, loan amortization table, sales invoice, and time cards. All these are spreadsheet solutions. Whew, that's hard to say for real fast. Spreadsheet solutions. You also have, of course, your general. This is your blank workbook that you open up standard. If you don't specify something when you're opening up a brand new one, it is going to give you just that blank workbook. So let's say we were trying to produce a sales invoice. You don't have a lot of time. You're just trying to get something put out. I can click on sales invoice, click OK, and what it'll do is literally bring up a pre-formatted sales invoice that I can use, and I can modify this. And that's the neat thing. I can take this blank one, which doesn't have anything. If I click on the insert company information here, gives me some tool tips, some screen tips that were put into this template by Microsoft, telling us how to customize this template. And then down here we can input things like if I put a 1 of something and then type in the description, maybe I'm selling widgets. Spell widgets. And then it says, what's the unit price of a widget? Well, it's $25. Well, look at that. It'll automatically update my total. And I betcha, watch this, if I do 2 widgets, and they're $25. See, there's a formula already in place. And by the way, it's locked. Notice I try to click on that particular cell, and it says, nope, no good. Now these are the things that I can change. These are automatically just formula based. Now down here it does subtotal, total. You can add shipping, you can add all kinds of things. And again, you can modify this any way you want. And then if, let's say I put my logo and my company information here and I leave all this information blank, I could then save this. I can come up here to File, Save As, and at this point, down here, notice it says Save As Type. Instead of just your standard workbook, I can create another template. So in this case, I can put it as a template. You'll notice up here at the top, it automatically takes you to the Excel templates location. And now it's sales invoice 1, and I can say sales invoice 2 or sales invoice dash Chris, and then I hit save. And then I'll be able to pick that one out if I need to. And this will be the new one. Now, of course, it automatically has this information in it, and I would have wanted to remove that. So let me go ahead and click close that. And let's show you how we can do this online as well. If I click on New, and I have my templates, if I go back to on my computer, you can see I have all of my my templates, but look at this under General. It automatically placed my sales invoice Chris as one of my general ones because I created it from my spreadsheet solutions. So let me cancel this one, and now let's go to Templates on Office Online. When I click this, it brings up a website, which is Office Online. And of course, for you to be able to do this, your computer does need to have an internet connection. It automatically takes me to the templates section, and here is where, boy, I got to tell you, the world is at your fingertips. Anything you can think of, pretty much, you can find in some sort of template. Because on Office Online, all the users that get together, the Office users, whether they're Excel or Word or Outlook or Access, they're going to go ahead and create these really cool templates, and then they make them available to everybody else. So, for example, let's say with Excel, I want to find something that deals with business plans. I need to do something. So I don't have a template on my general spreadsheet solution, so I type in business plan, and then I click on go or hit enter. It's going to bring up all the available templates for Office 2003. Now again, that's not just Excel, that's going to be Word, it's going to be PowerPoint, it's going to be front page, Access, Outlook, Excel, all the things that come with all of the different flavors of Office. In this case, you can see that Word has a business plan for startup business, but we're looking for Excel. Look at that right here. You can see we also have a PowerPoint. We can use PowerPoint, a sales plan presentation. But let's say I want to use this one for my Excel. So this is a template for Excel. I click on it. It says, all right, here is the description. This tells you exactly what it's going to do. It even shows you a preview of what it looks like. This is what I love about this. I don't have to second guess that this is going to fulfill my needs. I can just click on this and say, yeah, cool, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. Business planning checklist. So I can see that this is something I'm going to want. I go ahead and click download now. You can see this is a very popular one. I got 108,960 some odd downloads, and it's got a high rating. So I download now. It is going to then open it up into Excel for me. Look at that. It says, all right, here's your new template. And again, if I want to save this, I hit File, Save As, and then right now it's in my temp file. I can say I want to save this as a template. And I'm going to call this my Acme business plan checklist or business checklist. And this is going to now save that as a template that I can use. And now I don't have to go online, so if I don't have access to the internet and I want to do this, I can now have it locally on my computer. So this is a great way for me to take advantage of the power of collaboration on the internet. Because online, you have many people that are very good with Excel. They can create these things. Maybe even you, as you get better and better and better, are going to create these cool templates that you want to use. Make them available. Share them with other people, as long as they obviously aren't classified information, but share them with people. And so that way you can always have things like this at your fingertips. So one of the advantages that we're going to get here by having maybe more than one workbook open is that we can now move material, copy it or move it from one workbook to another. Now notice down here, I've still got my Microsoft Office templates still open up there, but here's my one book, which is Microsoft Excel, which is my Acme Business Checklist. And then I still have, if I click on it, I still have my blank Excel workbook that's open with my 3 sheets. Now let's say I wanted to copy some information from one book to another. Now, the cool thing about this is we're kind of killing 2 birds with one stone. I'm showing you how to use the copy and the move functionalities or cut functionalities, and you can do this within a worksheet, within worksheets, and within workbooks. But just by showing you between workbooks, you're going to get both of them all in one shot. So let's say I wanted to copy the just this information here, business planning checklist, and I want to copy this cell and I want to place it into book 1. Now I can do 2 things. I can copy it or I can move it. Let's show you the copy feature first. I go up to here, and you notice I can do it a couple of different ways. I can do it from the Edit menu, which is up here. I can click on Edit and click Copy. I can use the keyboard shortcut of Control-C, or I can just use the toolbar that you see here. And notice the little 2 pages, it looks like I'm making a copy, right? And it says Copy on it. If I click Copy, it will highlight either the one cell or the range of cells, whatever it is, with this kind of, call it the dancing ant line that goes around it. That says this is the thing that's being copied and placed on the clipboard. Now, by doing this, I can now go over here to Book 1, open it up, and select the cell that I want to place what it is that I just copied. So let's say just for fun, we put it on A3. That's where I want to copy it in this particular area. Now I can now use the paste button, which is here. I can also go up to Edit and Paste, and I can also use the Paste Special. Now why this is important is because if I just use the standard paste, I'll go ahead and do that. It will go ahead and it puts in the fonts, the formatting on the text itself. But look, it's only putting it into this A3 cell. Now if I go back to the Excel Acme, it's been what? The column has been resized to accept that whole entire area. Well, what if I wanted that over here on Book 1? Well, what I can do is, let me select on another one. Notice I still, back over here, it's still selected. It still says that that's part of your clipboard. It's ready to go. I come over here and I say, I want to paste special. So I hit Edit, Paste Special, and here it says, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to paste the worksheet object? Do you want to paste a picture, a bitmap? What do you want to do? Well, right now, this is what I have, is the Microsoft Office Excel worksheet object. If I click OK, it goes in and it says, there you go, boom. And notice what it did is it shows you the exact thing that it did, but it pasted it as an object. Now watch this. This gets even cooler. I can click down here, and notice, because this is an object, I can now move this around. It's just like a picture that's being placed. That's one of the advantages of doing the paste special. But this time, I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to select off, or select on this again, and I'm going to hit Copy again. Notice I have now added more than one item to my clipboard, and I can do up to 24 items onto my clipboard. Now, why is this important? Well, let's just say if you decide to take this for an exam purposes for your Microsoft Office user specialist, you need to know, believe it or not, how many items you can place on the clipboard before it starts kicking the top one out. So I can now paste them all, I can clear them all, I can do whatever I need to do, or select each individual one that I want to paste or delete from the clipboard. So this is another advantage that I have when I'm moving things from one place to another. So that deals with the copy aspect, but what if I want to move something or cut it? In this case, let's say I wanted to move this particular item, and I can scroll down. By the way, notice that they froze the panes up here, something we learned in a previous video. So let's say I want to take this strengths and I want to move define the company's current mission statement and move that down to maybe down to this location. So what I can do is I can select it up here. You notice I have the little scissors for cut. Again, I can come up here and hit Edit and Cut, or use the keyboard shortcut of Control-X. In this case, I'll use the formula bar here, and I click the Cut. Again, here's our magic little dancing ant line that says, hey, you are going to do something with this particular one. And if I select on this one, and then I hit Paste, it has now moved it down. Watch, as I scroll up, it is no longer here. I've moved it from A6 all the way down to A19. And so no longer have I just copied it, I've now cut it and moved it from one location to another. Now you saw something earlier that might have made you kind of scratch your head a little bit. Remember when we showed you the different types of pasting? We said there's paste special and there's regular paste. Now if I select something like this and I hit Control-C, which then I'm just using the keyboard shortcut. I could have just right-clicked or used one of the buttons up here. And I've got my dancing ant line. And so now I have it in copy mode. If I just come down here and I decide to do a paste special, watch this, Edit, Paste Special, it gives me a much different look than I saw when I copied it over to another workbook. Here, we can see I'm going to be copying things like the formulas, maybe just the values. Do I want the column widths? Do I want all of this? Just the validation. See, I can choose, pick and choose what I want here, and even perform certain types of operations. If I have maybe a formula that is in one cell and I want to copy this and add it to it or subtract it to it or multiply it or divide, I can do certain operations as well. If I have a range of cells, I can skip any blanks so that way it kind of compresses, or I can merely transpose as I need to. I do have the option to paste a link, which if I wanted to, as we'll see in just a minute, I can post it as a link or paste it as a link so that way if anything is updated on this one cell that I have right here, it will automatically update here and it'll be a part of the link. So let me go ahead and cancel out of this. And let's say though, now I've hit the Control C to copy this and I want to go over here to book 1. So when I come over here to book 1 and I say to myself, I want to paste special now in my new book. I come up here to edit and I hit paste special. Now you remember this is the screen that we saw with the paste special. Why is that? Because we're creating something a little bit different. We're moving between workbooks. So now I can create an object, which of course, as we saw earlier, objects you can place just about anywhere. I can use it as a picture. I can use bitmaps if I want to, so it's kind of a bitmap picture, and it gives you warnings about the disk space. I can put it in as different file formats, like the BIF5 or all the way down to regular BIF, SYLK. I got DIF, which you might want to use an XML spreadsheet. All of these are different options that are beyond the scope of what we're trying to show you here. But I can even go down just to use plain old text or comma separated variables here, so CSV. So whatever it is, I can now paste it into a different book. But notice, again, it's a different look and feel on the paste special when I move between my workbooks versus when I'm working within my workbook. This is something that might, catch you unawares if you're like, well, wait a minute, where's that particular paste special menu that Chris showed me? Well, just remember, are you moving from a workbook to a workbook, or are you moving within a workbook? So let's cancel out of this and move back here. Meanwhile, I still have him all selected to move. Now, one thing I'm going to try to do throughout the video series here for Office 2003, whether it's Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, Access, whatever, is try to give you a few exam tips if you are planning on taking the Microsoft Office User Specialist exams. One thing to be on the lookout, paste versus paste special. And the key here is this word, formatting. Formatting is a little bit different depending on which one you use. Over here for paste, you might get a few things like keep the font the same, bolding, maybe some color on the cell, or whether it's italicized. You might even get some column and row width. Whereas paste special gives you so much more in the world of formatting. So that is one clue I just want to give you. Just keep in mind that whenever you are looking at paste versus paste special on the exam, just look at what you are trying to paste and see if it needs any special features. Okay? So if it does, then you want to use the paste special. Now here's something to think about. What if I wanted to not just move one single item like strengths and then moving this and then moving all this one piece at a time? What if I wanted to move the entire worksheet? Because that's all this information that I have here. And I want to move it from one workbook to another. How can I do that? Well, here's what you can do. There's several ways that you can do this. One of which is if you just want to create this and move this to a brand new area, all you would need to do is right-click here on the checklist, hit Move or Copy. Oh, it disappeared on me. There we go. Move or Copy. And here we can say, all right, we want to take this checklist and we want to move this to a different book. Okay? Well, which one do we want to do? Well, right now it's moving it to this book. Well, that's the one we're on. That's on that template one. Well, I can now move it to any one of these that you see here, book 1 or book 2. So if I wanted to move it to book 1, let's say, and it says, now, do you want to place it before the sheet 1, sheet 2, or sheet 3, or just move it to the end? Now, up until now, I keep using the word move. So if I right now, without hitting this button, it says create a copy. If I click OK, it will literally move this entire sheet out of Acme Business Checklist over to Book 1, which is over here. It won't be there. It won't leave like a copy. And so if I want to copy it, which is I typically like to do, so that way I make sure I can always delete the worksheet out of something else if I don't want it. I select create a copy. I click OK, and bada bing, bada boom, here we go. Microsoft Excel Book 1, so we're on that different one. We're not on Acme Business Checklist, and check this out. The checklist is now in front. I said go ahead and move it before Sheet 1. I still have my Sheet 1 where I did my little copy and paste right there, but here's my checklist. It retains the title and all the information. This is huge when you need to move large pieces of your worksheet, or large pieces of data in your worksheets from one workbook to another, instead of having to copy and paste the entire text. Now you could of course gone up here and selected the whole thing by selecting here in the corner, and that means you select everything and in copy and pasting, but it's so much easier just to take the entire checklist, or in this case worksheet, it's called checklist, and move it from one to another. There's another way I can move this though. Now right now, if I look on Acme Business Checklist, I only have checklist. So let's go back to Book 1, and let's say for instance I want to move this Sheet 1 information over to Acme Business Checklist. Now we showed you one way of doing it. Here's another. I can click on the Window menu and see where it says Arrange or compare side by side with. Either one will work. If I do a compare side by side, it will just take two of the possible workbooks that I have open and compare them side by side. Or I can click arrange and it will show all three. Let's say I want to do this and I want to arrange them vertically. So it's going to take all three of these workbooks, Book 1, Acme Business Checklist, and Book 2, and arrange them in a vertical fashion. So I click OK, and there it is. There's Book 1. There's my Acme Business Checklist, and here's Book 2. Now, why would I want to do this? Much easier to move and see, especially if I'm copying certain information or if I'm making change on this workbook versus this workbook. Now, remember, this might look like, well, I'm still in Microsoft Excel. Aren't these separate worksheets? No, look, the worksheets are different. Those are the pages within the book. So it's like I have three open books in front of me. And so now I can say I want to take this, which right now is the, and I can move this over a little bit. Notice I'm grabbing and selecting and moving my little prompt over here so I can see this, and that's Sheet 1 that I'm on. I can, what? Right click, move or copy, or watch this. I'm going to left click and hold, and I'm going to move it. Notice how it moves between them. It shows me where it's going to place it right here. Look at that. I have now moved it from over here to over here. Very cool feature. And again, this is just to make us help us manage our workbooks and make it easier to get data maybe from one workbook into another. As we continue on our video series, we're getting some really good overview material, not only down to the itty-bitty little data and the cells and the content, and as we're going to get into the future, into formulas and collaboration and synchronization, but we also need to see big picture things like how do we create just a brand new workbook? Well, we need to start from scratch and get something blank. Or maybe we want to start with a little bit of help on our side by having a template to use that we've either used on our local computer that came with Excel and we went online, remember, grabbed the template offline and customized it and then saved it so we could use that to create even more workbooks. And then finally, we took a more in-depth look at moving and copying material, not only within workbooks, but between workbooks, which is a very important function, especially if you're getting ready to take that Microsoft Office User Specialist exam. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.